Right, you and I, we had talked about it a few minutes ago, and I had mentioned that that's where me and my boy Lauren come in, and not just us. I mean, there's a lot of, there's a good number of black male therapists here in Cincinnati. Um, but that's where our brothers can come to, and so we can sit and we can talk, and it gives you all a safe space. It gives us a safe space to be vulnerable, to let our guard down. Being vulnerable, we have to understand that being vulnerable is not a sign of weakness. One of the strongest things that we as brothers can do is let our guard down and show our true feelings. When I do therapy with men, particularly with couples, I ask this to the man and to the woman. I first ask the man, I said, my brother, how many emotions in your wife or your girlfriend do you have? And they were like, huh? I said, I'll say it again. How many emotions in your girlfriend or wife, how many of their emotions are in you? And they'll say, 2 or 3, 4. And then I say, my sister, how many of your emotions are in your boyfriend or husband? You know what they say? Every single one, all of them. You know what the issue is? Men have not been given, to your point, men have not been given permission to express their full range of emotions. So sometimes the reason why it's hard for us as men to express our emotions is because we haven't had a chance to even identify what those are. So many of our emotions get funneled through a few emotions that society or culture have deemed appropriate to express. Everybody can express the good stuff, happiness, joy, elation, in whatever degree that comes in. But fear, can't express that. Sadness, can't express that. Hurt, guilty, shame. The one emotion that most men tend to funnel those through, there you go. And so now anger becomes the vehicle that all of those other emotions ride on. And so men, we sometimes don't even know the difference between anger and hurt, anger and fear, anger and pain, because every one of them has been filtered through anger. So what therapy does, what me and Lauren do, and what other therapists do, is help men to differentiate and pull out and identify what's anger. Because oftentimes anger, we have this visual, and I'm sure Lauren has used it. It's called an anger iceberg. An anger iceberg. What's the definition of an iceberg? There's only a little bit that you see at the top, and most of the iceberg is what? Underneath. That you don't even see. What'd you say?
My therapist just did that with
Okay, all right. See, so she get it right. So it's a powerful tool because anger is what people see, but sometimes we have to go deep beneath the surface and identify. Okay, I see the anger. What's going on the inside? What's the catalyst for the anger that you are afraid to express? Well, I'm hurt. I'm disappointed. I feel like I can't let my guard down. I feel like I have nobody that I can talk to. So I'm upset. I'm frustrated. But it's all coming out as anger. And so when men are able to come into therapy and be able to talk about that, let the guard down, differentiate between different emotions, then I think it empowers us to be able to express our full range of emotions, and we leave out happy and healthy and better than when we came in. So I see a lot of men in my therapy practice. 90% of my therapy practice is black people, 90%. And I see a good number of brothers in there. Sometimes I see them alone. Sometimes I see them with their families. Oftentimes I see them with their spouses or significant others, but I see a good number of brothers. And one of the reasons that I got into this field and that I decided to go into private practice is to give us a forum and a space to be able to let that guard down, talk about what's really going on, and get some help. And so it's important that even though we feel like, in therapy, we call it emotional reasoning, and I'll explain it. Emotional reasoning says, if I feel a certain way about something, it must be true. Well, that's not true. It's a cognitive distortion. Just because I feel a certain way about it don't mean it's true. Right. If I feel that I don't have anybody to talk to, then I'm telling myself, well, there's no use in reaching out. The reality is there are some people that we can talk to. We just have to be diligent enough to seek them out, right?
Well, not only seek them out, and I'm gonna get this right back to you, but we have to figure out who can we trust.
There you go.
Ooh, that's different.
I think that's the biggest thing, because
Yeah.
when we talk about, I'm a school counselor by trade.
Okay.
When we talk about psychology, we talk about counseling, we talk about therapy, that hasn't been appropriate in our communities for years, for decades, for centuries. We didn't do that, right? That's what we were told. We didn't do that. So that allowed us to stay broken a lot longer. So we have a huge mistrust in this system. And Freud and all of them are a part of this system. So and then it's hard for us to seek it out, number one, to recognize, yeah, we need it, to acknowledge that, to seek it out, and then to find people that look like us, that we feel like we can trust. So there are all these different layers. So when you said I triggered you and why, you are absolutely right. There is no competition between whose struggle is harder. We can't walk y'all shoes. I would never want to. Y'all can't walk ours. I'm sure you would never want to. But the reality is that we have to start, one, learning how to trust ourselves. And then we can start figuring out who can we trust to get help, to get further, and then start being able to trust each other. And that comes with healing.
Yeah. It's interesting that you said that. I'm a pastor also, and so I was in church. Oh, my bad. I was in church a few weeks ago, and I preached the message called "Who Can I Turn To?" And I referenced escape. Who can I turn to? And when I'm in this empty space and all of that, but it's like, who can I turn to when I need love? But that's the question, right? Who can we turn to? We need people that we can trust, that we can be vulnerable with, that we can be open and honest and transparent. And to your point, in our culture, traditionally, for various reasons, we haven't been taught that it's okay to seek resources outside of the family or outside of the church. So not only do, people don't get the help, but then they also end up suffering in silence. And the detrimental effect of that is we carry it to adulthood. And we pass it on, because hurt people. And you're right, and we pass it on. And so we need to be able to kind of break that cycle and let people know that it's okay. It's okay to get help. It's okay for men. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to let our guard down, But to your point, we have to find people that we trust and that we can feel comfortable with. And so, again, one of the reasons that we like to come on is to promote mental health in the Black community, because it's important, it's needed. We're out here. We've been out here for a while. People just have to be comfortable enough to ask for help, and then we can help them to, navigate and figure out, the services that best fits them. So
I don't want to give you a chance on that. Did you want to add anything?
I like what Eric said, and I think now I have to think about it for a second.
I do got a question.
Go ahead.
Because I know we probably got to wrap up in a few minutes. But so how do we navigate walking on eggshells? Like, and it could be whether in the workplace, it could be through entrepreneurship, it could be through just personal relationships. Because I know have a relationship with somebody else, right? Whatever you are, right, whatever you are, all right. But how do you supposed to navigate through that? Because I know even in my space, right, there may be things that I say, things that I do, but people sometimes really don't understand. Like, there's an end game to what I'm doing. You may not like what I do or how I do it, but you're gonna love me at the end of the day. It's about the end game. But that's the question that's on the surface. So I want to hear really from everybody, from mainly you guys.
Can I give you? So I'll give you two interventions that I use for my clients. One. No, you need this intervention. No, you especially listen to me. Listen to me closely. I give you two interventions. All right, so yeah, it's how we go all the time. So I ain't worried about him. Nah. So the first one is I use this thing, it's cognitive behavioral therapy, and I call it hands people, brain people, and hands, brain, and heart people. All right, so you got to figure out what your tendency is, right? So we're thinking about thoughts, feelings, and we're thinking about actions. DeVoe is a hand person, right? Very hands-on, right? Let me think. If I was to think about Terence, I would think he might be a heart person, you know. But I can see him being a cognitive person too. But, yeah.
Didn't even expect that he was gonna say brain.
No, that was.
No,
But you
I can see him
have
being a
that,
heart
you have
person.
that, yeah. It's
Yeah.
just the brain, I think, overshadows. You allow the brain to overshadow the heart.
So they're just gonna do me right now, huh?
So, and then I know for me, I'm a brain person. So sometimes I can come off as heartless, right? Even though I really do care, but there's sometimes when I'm like, oh well, you know, because I'm gonna take my emotions out of it. So if you're gonna come at me and you're gonna try to get me to do something, you have to come at me as a cognitive way. So you can come crying, emotions, all that. You know, I'm gonna hear you, right? And I'm getting better at that, cause back in the day, I would have been like, whatever, stop crying.
I was about to ask you, do you give a blank stare though when they come
I
at you?
do. Sometimes I do. I would look.